Welcome to this video on our YouTube channel about the data structure needed for process mining. Or in other words, we will have a closer look at the data that goes into event logs today. Let's jump into our documentation here and let's jump into the section on how an event log is built or is structured. So we have the three columns that we need at any point for our process mining event log, and that's a case ID, that's an activity name, and a timestamp. So the case ID, like it says, connects events through a unique business case. In this demo data here within the documentation, we are talking about cleaning cars. So with pre-wash, main wash, vacuuming, cleaning windows, wax care, and so on. You see that our case ID is our car number. So we have car number 1, 1, 1, 2, and 3. And the same case ID means that we are talking about the same car. That's why this one connects unique business cases. It can also be an order number, a ticket number from, for example, something like ServiceNow. So if you're talking about one unique business case, then this is the granularity for your case ID. Then we have the activity name, so stuff that describes the work step that has been performed. In this case here, it's pre-wash, main wash, and so on. In ticket systems, for example, it's going to be stuff like status of the ticket, so open, in progress, closed, and so on. And then we have in SAP systems, most of the times we are using our predefined scripts to get that event log. So we are also creating the activity name. So purchase order created, purchase order item created, invoice created. So activity names like this, but of course they can always be adjusted to the needs of the customer and should be adjusted to your specific needs and what your people are used to. Normal day-to-day speech about the activity names. Then last, we have a timestamp. Of course, we need to know when this activity happened for this specific case, else we are not able to do process mining. So these three columns are the minimum information that is needed to work with process mining. But this, of course, this is a very small data set, and we want to have a closer look on a bigger data set. So I'm going to open that up here in a second. Okay, so I've opened up a event log here. I have this one in Excel, and this one is a combination of the demo data set that we have for all of our download packages and stuff that I added to it. And this one is in general a order to cash process. Maybe let me just do something like this here. So that we have it as a table, and then I can order it by case ID. So now we have all the cases here right underneath each other. As we discussed a second ago, we always need to have case ID, activity, and timestamp. They are within this event log as well. But this is one thing. This will give us the process flow. This will give us the duration. This will give us loops that we have within the process. So it's definitely great information. But we have stuff that we can put into the event log to enrich it. And we have two main categories of information that we can have within the event log. So the first one being activity events or event values. So event values meaning that this event here for this case will have one value, but the other events in this case can have different values for this column here. So it's per case and activity. If we specify them, they can be used on activities within Process Analyzer, within the case or variance analyzer later on in Power BI or ClickSense. And you can specify them in the transformation and put them on each activity. So activity cost, for example, is one of them. Automated is one of them. Department is one of them. So all of them here are event values. Let's say we also have information that is related to the whole case and will be the same for all of the activities. Then we have case values. So this one here will now be per case and same for all activities within that case. Meaning we have something like a vendor. So then we have something like for this case here, it's vendor A. And it will always be the same for all of the activities within the first case. And then for the second case, we have vendor B, for example. So always going to be the same regardless of the activity. This one we can put into the event log as well. But because we have the same information for all of the activities, for all the rows per case, it's a good thing to load them afterwards within Power BI or ClickSense. Because we can have this information in additional tables and just combine these tables with our cases table and say, okay, case 20 should have vendor A, 23 is vendor B. And no need to multiply this information here directly within the event log. You can just load it afterwards within your BI system and combine it with the cases table here. So we've covered the event values, the case values. Both can be added directly within the event log or can be loaded afterwards. When we're talking about the case values, the event values will always need to be within the event log because they are added to one row. So these are generic values that we are talking about. And then we have values that are used within our data model either directly or will be used for specific functionalities later on. I have added these specific columns here so that we can talk about them, and I will tell you why you want to use them in the event log or for what you will use them in the event log and later on. First up, we have the end timestamp. So you see that at the moment we have only one timestamp, but you might want to add the end timestamp per activity and case if you have it. In SAP systems, for example, you aren't able to get that. It's not possible. It's not within the system, but you have different, or you have other source systems where you can get that end timestamp. And if you put that into your event log and specify it later on in the transformation software that this is your end timestamp, it will automatically calculate the activity duration. So how long does this activity take? Let's say, for example, we have the end timestamp same date, but it's 10:40, then the activity will be 10 minutes long. And we will also automatically calculate the idle duration from here to here, from payment to shipment. At the moment, what we are capable of doing is calculating the duration from start to start. But if the payment activity itself takes 30 minutes, then we do not take into account these 30 minutes for the idle time, because it's no difference. It's 10:30 to whatever, 12, 1.5 hours. And it's just start to start. If we have that end time step, we know that payment takes half an hour. It's from 11 to 12 to the next activity. So we know that the duration from start to start is 1.5 hours. The activity duration is 30 minutes. And then the idle duration between these activities is 1 hour. That's possible if we have the end time step. Then what you also might want to add to your event log is a sort key. So when we create event logs with our SAP scripts, for example, what we do is we give each activity a sort key. So meaning we have payment always will have the sort key 10, for example. It's always going to be the same in each case because it's dependent on this one activity. Well, this will give you the ability to sort the event log or have the right orders within your event log when the timestamps are the same. So let's say you have shipment and payment happening at the same time, exactly the same time, but you want to have payment after shipment because you know that this is the correct ordering within your process logic. Then you will give each activity a sort key, put that into all the rows into the event log, and later on this will be used within our transformation so that we sort it based on this sort key. Next up, we have some more basic stuff that is, this is just normal event values, so the activity cost or activity value and the automation flag, but we are using these flags, these fields directly within our template files, so that's why I'm going to cover them. Because you can specify them in the transformation and they will be used directly, like I said, within the template files. So activity cost or value, name says, it's how much did this activity cost, or what was the value at that point within the process. And then the automation flag, just being okay, was this activity, was the payment for case 20 automated or not? In this case is 0, so it has not been automated. When the order, for example, has been automated within the case 20. These are these two more generic fields here. Then something that we will use as swim lane or legend values. So if you want to use our swim lane view within the process analyzer or within any other visuals or the legend, then you will add a value as a event value, and this will then be used within the visuals or extensions later on. So we see that here I've set up a department. So this is what we can use as the swim lane or legend value, and you see this is a normal event value. It is per activity and case. Here it's always going to be the same department. Later on within the visuals or extensions, it's also always going to be just one department per activity. You're not able to have an activity within multiple departments. It's always going to take the first department it's going to find within Power BI or ClickSense. So that's why all the payment always has the same department. Just like sort key, for example, where you also always have the same value for that activity And then, payment is finance department here, and in the next case also going to be finance department. What we also have is the activity group. So if you say that you want to group activities by another level within your process, you can create a mapping within the event log where you say this is the normal activity name, and this is the name of the group. And this will later on lead to the creation of two different event logs. So the detailed event log and the grouped event log. Of course, you can also just create 10 or how many event logs you want, individual event logs, and then all load them and have 10 different hierarchies. But if you have this directly within one event log, we will create additional fields like the work time per group. So what was only the work time within one group. So if you have the payment process and invoice and payment are part of it, then we will get the activity duration of payment and invoice for this case and say, okay, the group or the work duration for this group was this, and the total duration start to the first activity or to end of the last activity. So it's just going to be a little bit more information if you put that into the event log. And this is a great way of bringing down complexity within your event log. If you have a lot of variance, you might want to think about creating groups for your activities so that you can bring down the complexity at a first view, then filter based on the grouped event log, and then later on you're going to jump into your detailed event log with filters already set on your grouped event log. So this is then be used for grouping everything within your event log. If you are using activity groups, you can also have event values per activity group. So then you will have for example, your department. This one will be used on your detailed activity, and then you have your grouped department, and this one will be used on this one. So this one will go into your detailed event log, and this one will go into your grouped event log. Case values still are only going to be for the case, so it doesn't matter if you group or don't. You will have this one case table in the middle, and then you will have your event log detailed and event log grouped later on. So it doesn't matter if you are grouping or not. This one will just be there once. All right, this has been a short introduction to the data needed for process mining. On our YouTube channel, you will find more videos about the different use cases of process mining itself. If you have any questions, leave a comment below or get in touch with us, and we are happy to provide you with an individual demo or even a test license so that you can test our solution yourself.